Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
You know, it's funny how Laurie hasn't been seen on WrestleTalk since Tempest and I won our predictions battle at Double or Nothing, setting us up to challenge him at Hell in a Cell for the Jam That Championship. That right there is a scared man. But after Hell in a Cell, SummerSlam is coming up soon in August, and with reports and rumors speculating that WWE have some big plans in place for the show, including a WrestleMania-worthy match, some other big names on the show, and a huge guest host as well, it seems we may have more of an inkling as to who may be involved in the show, with one big name seemingly being teased to appear before long. Brock Lesnar hasn't been seen in WWE since losing the WWE Championship to Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 36, with his contract reportedly expiring, which WWE chose not to renew. However, that may be about to change. On this week's Raw, Brock Lesnar was name-dropped by Drew McIntyre as he recalled their WrestleMania bout, before Bobby Lashley questioned why he was bringing up someone who doesn't even work here. As pointed out by Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Radio, it's very unusual for WWE to mention anyone not under a WWE contract or with plans to be featured in the story very soon, with him adding, "When I heard that, I thought they are building towards Lashley versus Lesnar. That is a match that they have not done. It is a match that people have been asking for a long time, and maybe that's their plan for SummerSlam." So do we see Lesnar at Hell in a Cell? Does he cost Lashley against Drew or cause a double DQ setting up Lashley versus Lesnar at SummerSlam? It would certainly fill the criteria of a big match, and it's a match that Lashley was reportedly promised upon his return to WWE in 2018. You know, before the whole sisters thing. However, it also seems incredibly hypocritical of WWE to bring back Lesnar, who famously costs upwards of $1 million per appearance, while the very same company has released several wrestlers under the guise of budget cuts in the past couple of months alone. Would you want to see Lesnar back in WWE, and what match would you have him do at SummerSlam? Let me know in the comments because I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere. And they can't even bring Lesnar back to punch Braun Strowman in the side of the head during their match now that Strowman's been released. Remember that? Strowman revealed in an interview with Wrestling Daily's Alex McCarthy that following that particularly stiff blow that Lesnar dished out during their triple threat match for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble 2018, the pair laughed it off backstage. We laughed about it afterwards. It is what it is. We got to the back and I said, "Hey, my bad." He said the same thing, and we went about our business. However, the inconsistency of WWE continues, as not only are they potentially going to be bringing back a big money name in Lesnar, but they're also already scouting for new talent to join the company. Budget cuts. But it's not just any talent they're looking to hire, as according to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE wants everyone going forward to be young, males to be good size, defined as 6 foot and 220 pounds as a shoot, with an emphasis on minorities. This new talent would seemingly be brought into the Performance Center to fill a gap there's soon to be, as according to Fightful Select, several WWE executives are currently scouting wrestlers in the PC for main roster call-ups. The reported names investigating the talent are Bruce Pritchard, Kanyon Seaman, John Laurinaitis, Jamie Noble, and Matt Bloom, who were all watching matches in the PC recently. They also were observing an in-house event yesterday. Rick Boogs was the most recent main roster call-up, being aligned with Shinsuke Nakamura, and at the time, reports suggested more were on the way, which seems to be going ahead now. No names have been reported yet, but chances are we'll be seeing them sooner rather than later on Raw and SmackDown anyway. Meanwhile, over in AEW, a Chris Jericho contract has reportedly come to an end. Thank you for being awesome pledge hammers on Patreon, The Cyclone, Brandon Sayers, and Dustin the Professor Layton. But don't worry, it's not his AEW one. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Jericho is reportedly no longer under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. The last Tokyo Dome show he did with Hiroshi Tanahashi in 2020 was the final fight of his deal, and Harold Meij was negative on it due to the high cost, but others in the company had a different opinion. But even after the pandemic, New Japan is going to have to get its finances back on track to where they can afford that level of a deal. However, with the Forbidden Door becoming increasingly less forbidden as time goes on and becoming more of just a door, we've seen New Japan talent such as Kenta and Yuji Nagata working in AEW, so it feels like only a matter of time before AEW talent repay the favor, and you'd think that towards the top of that list of names who'd like to work in New Japan again would be Jericho. Jericho has even said recently in an interview with TSN, "There's a lot of unfinished business for me in New Japan. Jay White is one, Suzuki is another that would draw big money, Kota Ibushi and Ospreay, those 4 guys I'd love to work with. I'd love to do a Golden Jets team, Kenny and Jericho versus Okada and Ibushi, or Tanahashi and Okada, or Tanahashi and Ibushi. I think that's a Tokyo Dome main event right there." We have to take a moment to offer a correction for this week's Raw ratings, which originally were reported to be their lowest ever. Due to issues with the Nielsen ratings as of late, numbers have been reported incorrectly. However, the amended numbers have now been revealed. Instead of Raw drawing their lowest viewership ever, they instead drew their second lowest ever. Much better. The show drew an average of 1.557 million viewers rather than the 1.42 originally reported. And instead of a disastrous third hour, Raw managed 1.586 million viewers, which was actually the highest hour of the 3. The record low for Raw remains at 1.527 million viewers, which happened on the December 14th, 2020 episode. So close though, WWE. Keep shooting for that new low score. Despite definitely not being the general manager of Raw or SmackDown, because general managers don't exist anymore, remember? WWE official Adam Pearce has revealed he has a new position backstage in WWE following their massive shakeup of employees. In an interview with Give Me Sports, Pearce said, "Director of Live Events would be my official job title, yes. Frankly, it doesn't change a whole lot of what I do. You'll still see me officiating Raw and SmackDown, while I now have a more vested interest in what's going to happen on our live events. I had that anyway before receiving that title, but now I have a more supervisory role and a say in what's coming to your town. That'll take up a lot of time on my clock day to day, which is great, and it's part of the business I've always loved. Being able to transition to touring and give back to the WWE universe that has stuck with us, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll deliver what we do and put smiles on faces. It's an honor for me to have a more impactful hand in doing that. I'm very excited." And I'm sure that dissension between Pearce and Sonya Deville on SmackDown is going somewhere, right? And speaking of SmackDown, a former SmackDown star who was released earlier this year from the company debuted on Impact last night. The former Steve Cutler, now going by Steve Macklin, made his debut for Impact last night, drinking whiskey with a stack of papers and being all cool and stuff. Macklin spent most of his time in WWE as part of the Forgotten Sons stable. However, following controversy surrounding his stablemate Jackson Ryker, the trio were taken off TV, and both Cutler and Blake were released from WWE earlier this year. Meanwhile, Ryker's still in WWE. Makes sense. Cutler and Blake also had a very short tenure as King Corbin's Knights of the Lone Wolf, however that was dropped after a couple of weeks. According to Rey Mysterio though, now would be the time for an old stable to come back. In an interview with Ryan Satin on his Out of Character show, Rey Mysterio mentioned that the Latino World Order, a stable in WCW in the 90s, would find success in WWE today. If you think about it, things that were cool back then are becoming cool once again. I truly believe the LWO would be a huge success nowadays. It might happen. There's so much talent and the talent that is yet to come. While the original stable featured Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Juventud Guerrera, La Parka, and Psychosis, a new version in WWE would be really cool, featuring stars like Andrade, wait, no. Kalisto, wait, no, not him either. Joking aside, the Lucha House Party, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo, for example, are all talent that are in desperate need of direction, so that would be a cool way for them to go. Now, let's end this video off on a positive note. While the vibe surrounding WWE hasn't been great as of late, what with releases seemingly coming consistently behind the scenes and for talent in front of the camera, is at least reassuring to see the positive messages surrounding the released talent and how much people care for them. One of those in particular was Ruby Riott, who had an outpouring of affection shown to her on social media from seemingly every woman on WWE's roster. But it wasn't just the women who showed their appreciation, with The Rock commenting on Riott's heartfelt Instagram post, saying, "You will resurface, strong, wiser, and better. Thank you for the awesome birthday vid." Aw, that's nice.
But what are you gonna call it? Because the great thing about the sequel to 101 Dalmatians is you call it 102 Dalmatians. Worth making the film for that alone. Where do you put the number 2? Did you just think of that?
I just made that up on the top of my head.
That's really good.